enough for us. The other diggers, they all laugh. Everyone's digging for gold. Saw a place where it was stored, a hand was nailed to the door. That's a warning, that's for sure. Better not touch their load. Song of earth and dirt, tuna, spades and pigs. Can't bury the herd of soiled souls. Everyone's digging for gold, boys. Everyone's digging for gold. Me and Marty McLeod, we're talking. Come on, let's go prospecting. He shook his head, you're the fat old boys. Everyone's digging for gold. I went to stay at the keep, he wanted a deposit for the key. Lie in bed, my mouth bleeds, I poured out one of my gold teeth. Song of earth and dirt, tuna, spades and picks. Can't bury the herd of soiled souls. Everyone's digging for gold, boys, everyone's digging for gold. I tell you, it's like I told you, on the banks there was a soldier pouring a sack of gold dust into Chinaman's Creek. And when he saw that I'd seen him and that glitter kept his dream, he raised his gun, the soldier man ran to where the river's dammed. You might find his hat next to his pan. Baby sank, baby swam. Heard a shot from down the mine, someone digging overtime. Round here, that's a crime, better not touch their load. It's hard to sing when you're coughing, harder still inside a coffin. Sick to death, dying sick, making other bastards rich. Song of earth and dirt, tuna, spades and picks. Can't bury the herd of soiled souls. Everyone's digging for gold, boys, everyone's digging for gold. Everyone's digging for gold, boys, everyone's digging for gold. Everyone's digging for gold, boys, everyone's digging for gold. Everyone's digging for gold, boys, everyone's digging for gold. Song of earth and dirt, tuna, spades and picks. Can't bury the herd of soiled souls. Everyone's digging for gold, boys.
sea. And on the crying
tired of the city, it's time to move on. Done it before and I'll do it again. A life of a rover is all that I know. So here's to adventure and a railway go. Bet you the reason adventure, one of the reasons is there. I read this book, Revolution, for the hell of it. What's the title? I love the sound of it, just for the hell of it. Here's to adventure, it's free. Here's to adventure, just for the hell of it. Here's to adventure, I never see a roving, a roving, a roving, it's me.
Alrighty. Can you hear me? I am back. Let me know if the music and whatnot is too crazy in the background. I don't think it will be. Okay, Mark Latham's a fucking idiot. So let's just watch some of these videos that I've gotten that I'm going to use in my video on him. So let's, where is it? It's like this one from way back in the day where he has a go at Julia Gillard. Oh, here it is. All right.
In a campaign already marred by distractions, Julia Gillard has faced another distraction today here at the Brisbane Exhibition Grounds. Just over here, a few minutes ago, Mark Latham confronted the Prime Minister, asking why a complaint had been made by the Labor Party against him in his new role as a reporter for Channel 9.
Julia.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Can I just ask you why the Labor Party has made a complaint about me working for Channel 9?
I don't know anything about that, Mark. If you want to work for Channel 9, what's the matter for you?
Well, you made a complaint, and I think I should be allowed to make it a living. If you'd agree to the request to have an interview, there would be no need to make any complaint about anything. So if you want to make complaints, you really should make them about Rudd, who's the one who's sabotaging your campaign.
Well, Mark, nice.
So have a dig at him instead of having a dig at someone trying to do a job.
Nice to see you, and I hope you enjoy your life as a journalist now.
Well, you tell your people to lace it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
The coverage of Mr Latham's confrontation.
What an idiot. Fucking hell. Alright. And I'm sure that everybody's seen this, but let's have a look. Where is... At the... Oh no, I didn't get it. Anyway, he like angrily fucking shook John Howard's hand. This is a great video.
I'd be interested in your thoughts on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being just bearable, and 10 being massively annoying. How big of a tool is Mark Latham?
There are some things that can't be measured.
Okay, there has been a huge backlash against him in the images, which some people liken to the Howard handshake. So people were suggesting he was monstering you. Did you feel that, or did you regard it as a harmless joke?
Oh, I made a pretty tough stuff, Tony, so I didn't feel, afraid or anything like that. But even as it happened, I thought that it was inappropriate, and obviously the Chief Executive Officer of Channel 9 came to exactly the same conclusion, and he's issued an apology, and, that's enough for me. We move on.
Briefly, the political consequences of an incident like that?
Look, in the contemporary political stage, I don't really think that there are consequences from that. I think people would look at Mark and see someone who's moved beyond public life, but public life in the sense of active politics.
Oh my god. It's so good, right? But also, he didn't stay as a journalist because he was such a dickhead that he just kept getting kicked off every fucking show that he was on. He's so bad at what he does. Actually, maybe that's unfair. Maybe he's just super good at what he fucking does. And what he does, the limit does not exist. I just saw some posts about how, like, the 3 main male characters from Mean Girls all turned out to be gay. What a coincidence that fucking the limit does not exist. And I would see that post in the same night. If we have a look, where is it? So he was on a bunch of fucking TV shows and then he got kicked off. And so then he decided to make his own, like, shitty YouTube one. But have a look at this. He was the leader of the opposition party. He was in the fucking federal election to become the next prime minister. And this is how he created his fucking video. In like 2016.
Welcome to Mark Latham's Outsiders, Australia's most politically incorrect news and current affairs site. We've heard so many changes about Australia. Safe schools, safe spaces, 18C, cultural Marxism through all our institutions, the universities, the ABC, the Human Rights Commission, the whole lot. Well, we need to push back against this rubbish to restore Australian values. So many people say to me, we're losing our country, Mark. These changes haven't been discussed. They're not democratically decided. We want someone to stand up for us. Well, that's what we aim to do here at Mark Latham's Outsiders. No namby-pamby PC. We give the straight talk,
No
well-researched
namby-pamby
information,
PC.
no fake news,
You
none of the
fucking
rubbish you see in the
assholes.
mainstream media who
Oh
are too
my
scared to stand up
God.
for our country. You get the fair dinkum stuff here.
Oh,
Welcome to
fair
the
dinkum.
website and support us
Fucking
all the way.
Struth. Oh, he's such a fucking fair dinkum. Just fucking... What a douchebag. And then, of course, he can't stay out of it. So this was next.
The former leader of the Labour Party, Mark Latham, has joined One Nation and will run for the New South Wales Parliament. Mr Latham quit federal politics in 2004 after he led the Labour Party to defeat against John Howard. During the Longman by-election, he recorded robocalls for One Nation, and he'll run for Pauline Hanson's party in the New South Wales Upper House on a campaign focusing on immigration, congestion and overdevelopment in Sydney. And Mark Latham joins us now from Sydney. So Mark Latham, welcome. Why One Nation?
Thank you. Well, I think they've got the values and ideas that are consistent with solving long-standing problems in New South Wales. If you're talking about the congestion in Sydney, which has become unbearable, the city's become dysfunctional with overpopulation, overdevelopment driven by the immigration program. One Nation would say bring back the immigration numbers to a reasonable level, give Sydney a breather, a break from big population growth so that jobs, services and infrastructure can catch up, and also take a strong stance against overdevelopment. We need a policy of urban containment. So too the problems in the New South Wales school system, which has gone backwards. Political fads have taken over the curriculum. One Nation would say come back to basics and improve teacher quality. Electricity prices have doubled in New South Wales over the past decade because of the concentration and emphasis on renewables.
Is that why?
One Nation would say, well, diversify and broaden the energy base, in particular break the ban on nuclear in New South Wales. And also, something I feel very passionate about, get rid of political correctness and divisive identity politics, judge people on their individual merit instead of race, gender and sexuality. So they're all values that can solve these problems that Labor, the Liberals, the Nationals and the Greens have neglected for a long, long time in New South Wales, and I aim in this campaign
One Nation is 100% the only fucking party that would take Mark Latham.
To this wide range of problems in the state.
And not
So
even,
how did your
not even
association
federal
with One Nation
like
come
literally
about? Did
New South
you
Wales,
approach
One
Pauline
Nation.
Hanson, or was it an offer from her?
Well, there's been a discussion over an extended period of time, and I've looked at the craziness of left-of-centre politics in recent times where, you know, when I first joined the Labor Party in the late 70s, the emphasis would have been on poverty and treating people on merit, and now they've been thrown out the window, replaced by an emphasis on race, gender and sexuality, things that we thought then were immaterial to a person's character, work ethic, community contribution. So if left of centre politics has gone crazy with a deeply flawed social justice strategy, then I think a party like One Nation, which is pro-merit and anti-discrimination of any kind, has a lot going
2016
for it.
America as
Now,
well.
you're both strong personalities. Are you going to be able to toe the line when Pauline Hanson, as leader, tells you what to do?
Well, Pauline's the federal leader, I'm the state leader, and we're both getting on with the job. And the area where we've got the policy
That's a
synergy
no.
that's so important for the future of Sydney, a city I've lived in all my life, is on this question of urban growth and immigration. The federal policy is to bring the numbers back closer to the 20th century average of 70,000 a year instead of the current level closer to 200,000 permanent immigration program. And at state level, a planning policy that contains growth, that puts a clamp on overdevelopment, that limits...
All right. He's just going on with his, like, very carefully constructed talking points. I know. He was the fucking leader of Labor. He's such a fuckhead. This is not related as much, but this is a Pauline Hanson thing.
Fellow Australians, if you are seeing me now, it means I have been murdered.
They sat me behind a bookshelf in my classroom because they didn't know what to do with me and banned me from everything.
Oh, you're probably wondering what I'm doing. You're not going to believe my topic of conversation today. It's about squat toilets. You're saying what?
And I will take you out for a halal snack pack out in the western suburbs of Sydney whenever you want.
Not happening. Not interested in halal, thank you. Not interested in it. I don't believe in halal certification.
Live in a cohesive society.
You love your Islam bit, don't you? Squat toilets? Right. You've got to squat to use them. Your Islam bit, certification.
Live in a cohesive society.
You love your Islam bit,
halal?
don't you? Squat toilets? Right. You've got to squat to use them. So anyway, it's totally confusing.
Are you xenophobic? Please explain.
Xenophobia means a fear of all things foreign.
Pauline, it's good to catch up with you again after all these years.
Yeah, I think it is great too, and I really appreciate you coming to my office and saying hello and welcoming me to the Parliament, and we've had a bit of a chat and we've had a cup of coffee, and it's great, and I really do appreciate that, Tony.
And actually, it's not my drone, it's not my plane, it's James's drone. As it's James's plane. The plane. No, now it's the drone.
I'll refer to her as everyone knows, Pauline. Our Pauline, the people's politician. She is one of us, and we are just like her.
A teacher teaching kids how to strap on a dildo. Teachers telling kids how to masturbate. Well, if they don't know how to use our toilets, then what the hell is going on?
Oh my God.
It's my favourite topic. Refugees. You're not going to tell me you're a refugee, James, are you?
No, Aboriginal.
Really? I wouldn't have picked it. It's good to see that you're actually, taking up this and working. I hate Asians.
What the fuck?
No way in the wide world. I just don't want to see Australia
Fucking
become
racist.
Asianised or swamped by Asians.
Right.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Hanson.
A Scooby-Doo moment.
You don't have a full burqa.
What do you mean?
The only thing with more twists and dips than Pauline Hanson's samba is her career.
Oh, man. That she is just something else. You're not going to tell me that you're a refugee. Oh, Aboriginal. Oh, I wouldn't have picked it. It's good to see that you're working. Oh, man. So good. Yeah. Okay, back to Mark Latham. Mark Latham, who then chose to join this woman's party. That is an indictment on fucking Mark Latham. All right, let's watch one of his Oh, okay, here we go.
A primary school on Sydney's North Shore is under fire after it displayed student-made posters saying "Stop Killer Cops" and "White Lives Matter Too Much." New South Wales Education Minister has called for an investigation into how the posters, which were created by Year 5 and 6 students, came to be displayed.
So, as I go into in my video that I'm currently scripting, I think I've got about 2,500 words, or maybe closer to 3,000 at the moment. This is very, very incorrect. Just good to see your work. So fucking racist, and she doesn't even realize. That is the thing. She had no fucking idea that she was being fucking racist then. Oh yeah. So one, this chick, Sharri Markson, fucking idiot. She's on the Credlin show. Oh. But yeah, anyone on Sky News. But seriously, what they're talking about, they're misconstruing it so fucking much, which obviously, no one's going to be surprised by that. Of course they're fucking misconstruing it. But yeah, so we'll keep watching and we'll see what Mark Latham has to fucking say.
Promising disciplinary action against teachers found to be politicising the classroom. For more on this and some much needed common sense, I'm joined from Sydney by the leader of One Nation in New South Wales, Mark Latham. Thank you for your time. How on earth was this allowed to happen in a government-run school?
Well, too many schools in our state, Rita, have been overrun by politics and woke ideology. This was part of a Black Lives Matter set of lessons, posters all over the classroom. The offensive one we're talking about was part of a whole BLM exercise inside the classroom. Now, you and I know that's, you go to
wrong.
their website, it's neo-Marxism, it's gender fluidity, it's attacks on the nuclear family.
What? It's neo-Marxism, it's gender fluidity. And that's the whole thing. His whole thing is fucking gender fluidity. And that's what this entire bill, the rights of, what is it? The Education Amendment Bill, that's what it is all about. It's all about gender fluidity. Does he ever explain that? Fucking, of course not. He has no idea what he's talking about.
But Black Lives Matter was glorified, and as part of that, 2 students have been allowed to write on the poster "Pigs out of the country," and another student, just as bad, has been able to write "White Lives Matter Too Much." And the classroom teacher, whoever was in charge, has not corrected that work, and in fact, seemingly has felt so good and proud about it, it's been hung from the ceiling as a poster in the classroom for everyone to look at and everyone absorb. This is
again, that is just not what happened. So fuck. I was like, hey, watch my video, but no, I have to talk about it now because he's such a fucking idiot. He has no idea the intentions of the teacher of the exercise, and it's clear because what actually came out was the kids at this school, and it's like an experimental school, and basically what they were asked was, the riots were happening in America. George Floyd had just been murdered, and the BLM protests / riots / response from the police was happening. And I was teaching at that time. I had modern history classes. I had a Year 11 and a Year 12 modern history class, and it was huge. And even my year, I think I had Year 8s last year. Even they were, even they could see what was happening, and they understood that something big was happening. And so there was a lot of discussion, and there was a lot of trying to get them to work through it and process what was happening. And in this classroom that he's talking about, the kids were asked to create posters, write down things that they had seen on the news. And so those things cops are pigs and white lives matter too much, whatever he's upset about, those were things that kids had seen on the news that they then wrote down, and they were all put up around the room to help, it was an activity to help them kind of process what was happening at the moment. It wasn't so that the teachers like, yeah, kids, good job. We believe 100% these things because we're cultural Marxist teachers and we're trying to get into your little brains. So that's sick. He's such a fuckhead.
There's a sickness, a political sickness in our schools that's got to be eradicated.
Now, what are the chances that the teachers at that school would have told the kids, if they're going to undertake this exercise and look at BLM, that the co-founders identify as neo-Marxists, that they're proudly anti-capitalist?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, but what are the chances? Aren't you right now hosting a fucking political program on a news show on an entire 24/7 news channel run by Rupert Murdoch, one of the richest fucking media moguls in the world? Can you not go and do that kind of fucking legwork? But of course, the entire point is not that they want to understand and do the legwork and figure out what's really happening. What they really want to do is they want to spin a narrative and they want to construct their fucking agenda. Sorry, wow, I'm getting so angry. This is exactly why, because I started watching stuff about this bill, because I had a comment on a video about, no one's talking about this Mark Latham bill. And it was a trans kid in New South Wales, and they said, hey, I'm pretty worried. No one's talking about it. And I started looking into it, and it's the fucking dumbest thing ever. And Mark Latham is the dumbest. He's not the dumbest person ever. I guarantee he knows what he's doing. You don't get to leading the political wing of a mainstream party without knowing what you're doing. He 100% knows what he is doing.
Anti-police, and actually be honest about the ideology of this group rather than paint them as just saviours for equality and fighting against oppression.
As I said, and as it comes out, when somebody asks the principal, and then the principal, because obviously after this shit happened, everyone's like, oh my God, they're teaching blah, blah, blah. And then the principal asked the teacher, and the teacher explained it. The principal said, oh yeah, the principal said, yeah, the teacher's going to get in trouble. Even though the principal then went on to explain that it was what the actual activity was about. And the activity is very fucking normal. And it's trying to get these kids to work through the kinds of stuff that they're seeing in the media and to understand it. But I love this. They're just writing fan fiction. That is all that they are doing on these kind of programs. They're just writing fan fiction. Like, oh, do you think that maybe they also could have said that apart from being neo-Marxist anti-capitalists, that they're not the saviors of equality, and that maybe we should get our ideology into the schools? Not what's happening.
I mean, where is the balance in exposing children to a group like BLM?
Well, there's no chance that the teacher said that to the 11 and 12-year-olds. This is a primary school class, years 5 and 6. And it's an attack on the New South Wales police. I find it sickening that we'd have any students in the system saying pigs out of the country. And it's just a sign of how these experimental schools, Linfield is an experimental school. There are no subjects, no exams. All the work is self-assessed by the students. It's some sort of commune arrangement. They've got gender-neutral toilets for primary
some
students.
Kind of commune arrangement.
There's rainbow flags everywhere, of course. It's
rainbow flags everywhere, of course. We don't want to make it too fucking nice. If the kids are gay, don't want to do that. Fucking of course. You can't just have a normal straight school. You got to have a school that recognises that some people are gay. And of course, it's a commune.
Wokeism on steroids. So out of that environment, it's more like some political indoctrination camp instead of a regular school teaching literacy, numeracy, English, science, geography and history. So That's the shame of these experimental schools. We know what works in the classroom, direct instruction by teachers, other teaching and curriculum methods. These experimental schools
I'm
always
sniffing
fail,
like
and in this
crazy over
instance
here.
they failed.
Now, that is not what we know works. I don't know where he got that from, but pedagogical research does not say that direct instruction is the thing that works. It is much more complicated and nuanced than that. Fucking obviously. Clearly he is not an education expert. Clearly he has never been a teacher. Clearly he does not know what he's talking about. He just wants to go back to like the good old days where the kids came in and the kids sat down and that's what they did, and then they listened and they did the 3 R's, and then they learnt all the things that they needed to know to get out into the world, and then they were great, and then they went and got a job and they were good for society, and they didn't question too much because they knew what was good for them. From the USA. Oh, how are you? It is almost 10:30 p.m. over here. What time is it where you are?
Hopelessly, because the political content articulated by these 11 and 12-year-olds is just simply appalling.
100%. Oh, man. Sorry. I'm just going to... Give me 5 seconds. I'm going to breathe. Okay, that didn't help. They're just writing fan fiction. What the fuck? 7:14 a.m. Wow. Good on you for jumping on. How's it going over there? The USA seems kind of dicey at the moment. I mean, we're laughing at our own weirdo reactionaries here, but they're not as bad.
This is a school that's breeding hatreds, disrespect and barbarism.
This is a school that's breeding hatreds, disrespect, and barbarism. And he has no idea what he's talking about. Oh, man. How do I get this job? Oh, you have to be like a weird bigot, hey? Well, that sucks. Oh, man.
And imagine if a child there happened to have a parent or a family member who was in law enforcement.
Oh, my God. Oh, just imagine. Oh, just imagine. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, I know what they're talking about. It's like this is, and I was listening to a Jose video tonight. Yeah, breeding hatred by hanging pride flags. Well, you know, the rainbow flag, obviously. But yeah, this video I watched tonight, he was talking about Tucker Carlson, and he was saying how guests were brought on not to give, you know, like factual context, but to give emotional context, like where they would tell a story about whatever the issue was that would make you feel a certain way. And I thought that was such an interesting way of framing that, because that is absolutely what happens. And an emotional context is such an interesting way of saying that, because it definitely does. Like it 100% provides emotional context, just like she's doing now. Like they've crafted this narrative, they've gotten this tiny little bit of information, then they've misinterpreted it, they haven't tried to find out what actually happened, they've constructed this whole story. He said how they're breeding hatred and barbarism or some shit in this school with like year 5 and 6 students, and then she's like, and imagine if a kid in there had family that was a police officer. How would they feel? That would be pretty tough. And then the people watching this are like, yeah, that would be real tough. I can't believe these fucking cultural neo-Marxist anti-capitalists are in our schools trying to indoctrinate our children when they just need to be indoctrinated the right way.
And they're seeing these sorts of anti-police messages in the classroom. It's not very inclusive, is it? Now,
well, it's not very inclusive, is it? I fucking love it when conservatives throw out this bullshit. It's like the anti-vaxxers, where they have, like at their rallies now, they've got my body, my choice fucking signs. just like, it's so disgusting. Like, one, not the same thing, and two, I guarantee you that they do not actually believe that. They don't believe in abortion. They're just trying to like throw an argument back in someone's face because it's all a big fucking game for them. It's all like trying to one up the other team. It's just a team sport and that's all it is, and they're just trying to fucking win. Oh my God. I love that this was meant to be like a chill little stream where I was just typing out my script and listening to a bit of music, and now it's just turned into just trying to give myself a heart attack from these fucking idiots.
I want to go to another issue. This time you're under attack, Mark Latham. A public hearing at New South Wales Parliament has been thrown into chaos after members of a transgender support group, they call themselves the Community Action for Rainbow Rights, came and objected to discussion of One Nation's bill to ban promotion of concepts such as gender fluidity in classrooms. Let's have a look at what happened.
How dare you sit there and try to oversee the rolling back of our rights, rolling them back by decades, trying to attack the most vulnerable people in our society, transgender young people who've already got it tough enough. You are nothing but a thug and a bigot who doesn't represent anyone but yourself, a tiny minority of bigots in this society.
That's
the vast
fucking
majority
hilarious.
of people want our schools
Nice.
to be
Okay,
inclusive
good.
spaces.
I'm glad we're on board.
This bill is not going to pass. You are dreaming if you think you can attack the rights of teachers, if you think you can attack counsellors, if you think you can attack trans youth.
Look, I do have to say, I really like how the police respond here. It's the way that teachers respond when there's like a big blow up and you're just trying to... They didn't. They really didn't yell loud enough. But this is exactly the way that teachers respond. Like, I can only America. Wow, that was Freudian. I can only imagine. Yeah, you can still hear him. He's not getting silenced or anything. Yeah, I can only imagine if this happened in America, the kind of, heavy-handed response from, like, the police. But here they're just, all right, on your bike, get you go, come on now, get out. It's pretty good. It's very British, I feel. The kind of bobbies just swinging their stick around, doing a bit of a whistle. Off you go. That meeting wasn't inclusive.
Mark, you're being called a thug and a bigot and told you're the minority, not the trans activist. What's your response to all that?
Mark, oh my God, you're being called a thug? Oh, la 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 la, tra la 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 la. It's also funny for us sitting here.
Oh, well, it's no different to Twitter, is it, Rita? Full-on abuse. That's the face of left-wing respect and tolerance, interrupting a democratic forum to consider a bill, look at ways of amending it, improving it, do things in the public interest.
Oh my God, after I do this video, it's going to end up being like a whole fucking hour-long video or some shit. It's getting so big. Because he spews so much bullshit. What I should try and do is say... like right at the start of the video, before you even watch it, go and share it to Mark Latham's Twitter and hashtag it like left-wing respect or some shit. That would be so good.
A lot of parents, quite rightly in New South Wales, very concerned about the teaching of gender fluidity, the teaching of gender as a social construct in our schools. I receive a lot of complaints. I've acted on a bill that also says parents have got rights. It's a parental rights bill to say that parents are the primary educators of their children and they've got rights on matters of social, ethical, moral teaching inside schools. They need to be consulted, is one of the provisions in the bill.
Oh man, I just had my microphone off. Just imagine that I did the sweetest takedown of Mark Latham then, when it was just silent for a while. I was just saying that he's like, oh, parents are the primary educators. Then homeschool your kids. Like, just homeschool them. If parents are the primary educators and it's all about parental rights, blah, 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 homeschool your kids. Fucking otherwise, check your ego, realize that maybe you don't know everything, and let them learn some shit. Fucking hell.
So, those sort of protesters don't do their own cause any good, and it was a pretty sad reflection on their level of abuse.
I agree with Mark Latham there. It was a pretty sad reflection on their level of abuse. It was not abusive enough. 100%. That was like a 2 out of 100. That was not abusive. They were just yelling a little bit. They did not abuse Mark Latham there. I agree. It was sad. I would have rather see just horrendous torrents of bile spewed at this grotesque human that wants to just return Australia to this bigoted, fucking beautiful past that he imagines. Fuck off.
Didn't actually hear too much of what they were saying, but it wasn't very complimentary, was it?
Oh, I need compliments all the time, guys. Otherwise, it's abuse. And then I go, and I'm really smug on the fucking national news channel that I get a 9-minute interview on. Oh, it wasn't very complimentary. Those people aren't going to get a 9-minute fucking interview, are they, Mark? Maybe you should recognize, and I don't want to trigger you, you might want to recognize your privilege.
No, but explain to us what the bill is likely to achieve, and has it got any chance to actually get through?
Well, we've got the conclusion of our 2 days of hearings just moments ago, and the bill is now subject of a committee report, and I'm hoping the committee...
So to anyone that has just jumped in, I'm currently doing a video... I'm writing a script and making a video about this education amendment bill where he's trying to... It is really Mark Latham's agenda. One Nation is pushing it, which are a minor party in Australia's most prosperous state, New South Wales. And they're trying to push this education amendment bill through, which says parents are the primary educators, and if they don't like something the teacher's saying or the school's going to do, then they can fucking pull their kids out. And also, you can't talk about gender fluidity. If you talk about gender fluidity or people being trans, that's ideological, blah, 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 blah. Like, 20 years ago, he would have been doing the same shtick, except about gay people. 40 years ago, he would have been doing the same shtick, except about Indigenous people. 60 years ago, he would have been doing the same shtick, just about women. It's just fucking bigotry, plain and simple. He's trying to wrap it up, and he's going to wrap it up in this veneer of fucking, sovereign rights and parental responsibility and blah, 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 woke cultural Marxist bullshit. But no, it is just bigotry. It is plain and simple bigotry. Mark Latham can fuck off. Maybe that's what I'll call the video. Mark Latham can fuck off. Not an in-depth analysis and critique of One Nation's Education Amendment Bill 2021. It's going to be called Mark Latham Can Fuck Off. Has One Nation bill ever gone through? I feel... So at state levels, I can't say. I feel like New South Wales is the only state legislature that One Nation holds a bit of sway, where they've got the... I don't know if they have the balance of power in New South Wales. In federal parliament, in the Senate, they have held, or at least been important for the balance of power, and so the Scott Morrison coalition government, pardon me, relies a lot on One Nation to get their stuff through. And so what they'll often do is they will discuss with One Nation what little amendments they want added, or stuff that they might want taken out. And so One Nation has probably never gotten a bill through. They did a couple of years ago do a It's Okay to Be White, which the coalition voted yes on, just as like the Senate puts forward that it's okay to be white, and the coalition voted yes on it. And then 2 hours later, after obviously they went away and somebody told them that that was a white nationalist talking point from like the like right-wing reactionaries in America, they reconvened Parliament and they voted against it, which is pretty hilarious.
Would find that parental rights are important, that parental rights should be legislated according to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, that parental rights are a basic human right.
The International Covenant on, what is it, parental and civil rights? I love how these people will conjure up these, wonderful multilateral, global kind of, conventions like this when they want it, but they're not going to look at the Convention on the Rights of, refugees. They're not going to be looking at human rights, the UNHCR. They're going to, turn around and go, well, this is globalism and the UN is full of Jews and they're trying to take over Australia. But and then they turn around and they go, this is actually a pretty important international legal norm, so you'd better listen to us.
Right, that parents should be consulted at the beginning of every school year as to what's coming up in the classrooms.
They are. At least in Queensland, one, you get, and this is at primary schools, because in high schools, way too much, but in Queensland, in primary schools, you get like a printout of, it's basically just the ACARA stuff, the Australian National Curriculum, that says, hey, here's the kind of stuff that your kid's going to learn this year. And you look at it and go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Math, science, English, humanities, history and geography, and some languages, some health, some PE, some music. And then you go, cool. And you throw it in the bin.
So no surprises in that regard, and areas where parents are not comfortable with the teaching, it doesn't accord with their family values, they would have a legal right to take their children out of that classroom. And on top of that, gender...
That is the dumbest shit in the world. Like, imagine if you were teaching science and you're teaching something about the galaxy and the kid said, or the parents, rather, it's not the kid, it's the parents, are like, actually, we don't believe in evolution, and so instead of the secular education that you're providing in your public school, we're going to pull them out. I realize maybe actually that sounds strange to like any American audience that might be listening, but yeah, in Australia, like we have a secular public education, and you are learning about evolution. Oh my God, that's amazing. Around here, if someone insinuated that a member of Congress was being racist, there'd be this argument about calling someone racist is against the rules of conduct. Oh man, we sometimes have those kind of things. Like people will get up in Parliament and say something in a speech, and then the speaker will go, I'll ask you to withdraw that. And they'll go, oh yeah, I withdraw it. But they've already said it, so everyone, it's pretty funny. You can't, and after they withdraw it, you can't address it again either. So they can say, you're a liar. And then it's like, oh, you need to withdraw that. And they go, I withdraw. And then the person that got called a liar can't say anything about it because it was withdrawn, technically. Yeah, terms and conditions no parent would read. And they don't. This is literally just culture war bullshit for the extreme, like, reactionary parents. It's not for the majority of parents to be like, oh, yeah, we want to give parental... It's so they can capture this reactionary crowd.
Should not be taught as a social construct. So...
See here, gender should not be taught as a social construct. He's not saying that gender is not a social construct. He's just saying that it shouldn't be taught as a social construct. So his argument isn't actually that they're teaching something that's incorrect. He's just saying they're teaching something that I don't like. Would private Christian schools just rewrite education to not involve science and history at all? In Australia, there's still curriculum that has to be followed. And so while private Christian schools can insert like religious stuff into their curriculum, they still have government mandates that they do need to be hitting, and they're still run by, they're still governed by like big bodies like the Australian Catholic Education or Catholic Schools. Anyway, yeah, there's big things. Basically, in Australia, you can't just go and teach kids fucking whatever. Even the homeschooling, you have elements of a curriculum that's set by each state government that you have to ensure that you're teaching kids, and then you have to be demonstrating how you're teaching them and how they're going with it. So it's not just I'm going to pull my kids out of school and I'll just go and buy some books and teach them fucking whatever I want. In Australia, they're like, well, kids need to know a certain amount of stuff. So no, you can't teach them that whatever your bigoted bullshit is, basically.
I think all those things are fair and reasonable. If I can get the majority of those items up
I think
in the
they're
committee
fair and
report
reasonable.
and through the Berejiklian cabinet table, that would be pretty good work on behalf of the parents of New South Wales who are neglected. The Teachers Federation in one of their webinars said, if you find out anything about the sexuality and gender of a student, don't tell the parents.
Why could that be? Why could that be, Mark? I mean, one, did they say that? But two, if that is true, why could that be? Could it be because your first role is to protect the students? If you found out that a student was gay or queer or trans, but knew that the parents were going to flip the fuck out of that, and they're in a very vulnerable stage of their life, but because of your laws or some shit, they had to tell them, that doesn't protect the child. Opens them up to a whole range of vulnerabilities. Fuck, I hate Mark. How do you pull your kids out of homeschool? Some parents do. It's called sending them back to public school because they realize that they made a mistake and that actually they can't teach better than the teachers who've trained family values. Oh, man, yeah.
All parents, because they say, it's dangerous at home.
gosh.
So parental rights are being wiped. We've got to legislate them.
Oh, yes. Let's move on to another issue,
yes.
though. Our favourites, Malcolm Turnbull and Kevin Rudd, they've joined forces and penned a column.
All right. Oh, he's just going to go on a bunch of bullshit. We all know what right-wingers say about climate change. All right, what else have I got? Now I've got some bullshit. Oh, here we go. Okay. Just be prepared. Oh, man.
Now, look, on this education crisis, can I say to you, without any sense of exaggeration or alarmism, I'm not in that game, it is, in my opinion, far worse.
What did he just say? Oh, my God, what did Alan Jones just say? Let's hear that again.
Now, look, on this education crisis, can I say to you, without any sense of exaggeration or alarmism, I'm not in that game.
Without any sense of exaggeration or alarmism, I'm not into that game. Alan Jones, apart from Andrew Bolt, apart from Andrew Bolt, is the biggest reactionary shithead in Australian media. Maybe John Laws. No, Alan Jones is worse than John Laws. Like fucking 2GB radio. Is that John Laws? Or is he 3AW? Anyway, fucking... Oh my God, I'm not into that game. Alan. Oh, man. Dude. I'm not into that game.
It is, in my opinion, far worse than anything Mark Latham and I have said.
Is he just admitting that things that he and Mark Latham have said are bad? Really seems to be that way.
Correspondence now I can't jump over. Parents through this program are waking up, but they're smart enough to know that nothing is being done. Governments everywhere are in open defiance of reality. Mark Latham's focused on New South Wales schools. Gladys Berejiklian has done nothing. Only today I had an email from a Victorian parent saying, quote, it was educational to witness the online classes children participated in during the lockdown last year. Primary school children reciting lengthy ditties insulting Tony Abbott and Donald Trump.
What the fuck are they talking about? Primary school children left out worst deeds. Yeah, exactly. Reciting lengthy ditties insulting Tony Abbott and Donald Trump. Okay, one, Tony Abbott was 2 prime ministers ago. It's just that they know that this crew loves Tony Abbott. And Donald Trump, I will give them $100 if they can prove to me that over like Skype, these kids, primary school kids, were being led in a class in like a sing-along that insulted Tony Abbott and Donald Trump. I want to see that. I will pay money to see that.
But when asked to name the mayor of their council, their state premier or the prime minister, they have a blank look on their face.
But, okay, I'm going to assume that if there are kids that are like singing ditties, they're going to be grade 1? Maybe grade 2. Why would they know the name of the mayor, their premier, or their prime minister? This is ridiculous. Like, we have civics as part of the Australian curriculum, so they will get there. They will know that, hopefully. They're too busy insulting Tony Abbott and Donald Trump, and I'm so upset. Mrs. Krabappel and Princess Skinner were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies, and the baby looked at me. What? What's his wife's name? Get the phone. What about the SEX in the sex cauldron? I thought they closed that down years ago.
You brave individuals, he said, are fighting a rearguard action, but I fear the battle is almost over. Business leaders, politicians, the public servants, the courts.
Oh my God, they're so brave. They're mounting a rear... What is it? A rear action? It just sounds... Wow, that sounds sexual. They're mounting it. Business leaders, politicians, the public servants, the courts and educational facilities have all been captured or surrendered to the left. I just realized that these people see the left as being like common sense nowadays. Like you're not openly bigoted towards gay people or trans people. You think that women can do things, but to these weird reactionary bigots, that means that everyone has been captured or surrendered to the left. I love it. Yeah, that's grade 5, but only federal. Yeah, you do civics and stuff. Look, there is definitely a conversation to be had about the ways that you can address or reform or improve the education system in Australia. But it does not come from people like fucking Mark Latham and Alan Jones. And how much you could tell Alan Jones that he was swallow. Gonna boil the pot by sending. Well, Alan Jones, he got fired last Thursday from Sky News. They stood him down, and then I think he came out and said that he quit. So, which means that they had some kind of stoush. Yeah, 100% detached from reality. And two things. One, I, like a Victorian viewer, look at how it's... I wouldn't be surprised if they just made this up. 100% if they just made this up. Two, I also wouldn't be surprised if he didn't believe any of this shit. I would not be surprised if this was just one huge grift. He knew what he had to say. Like, he is so fucking rich because of this. Because of his, like, radio shit. And then because of this stuff. Like, he is rolling in it. And he's good at it. Like, he is. If I was, into this stuff, he's sincere and he's, hitting all the right notes, I would probably, be fooled. And yeah, I don't know if he believes it. If he didn't believe it, I wouldn't go, oh my gosh, I'm so shocked. I go, yeah, good one, Alan.
And educational facilities, he wrote, have all been captured or surrendered to the left. Writes to parents, it's embarrassing and depressing to watch and listen to President Biden, Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, the French and Canadian Prime Ministers, waffling on about climate change and COVID-19, while our countries and our way of life are imploding.
Fucking what? Just had to throw in that attack on climate change. So I feel, because Sky News, like all of the Murdoch press, has done a big pivot. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago where they suddenly said, and it was very bizarrely, it coincided with Scott Morrison and the Liberal Party's pivot to, oh yeah, climate change is real, guys. Obviously climate change is real. We've got some policies about it. Obviously it's real. Obviously we're taking it seriously. And the Murdoch press and the Liberal Party are just acting as though they haven't, for the last 15 years, been actively campaigning against any action on climate change. It is, it's the biggest gaslight that I have ever seen. And Scott Morrison's, that everyone is replaying the thing where in 2019 at the election, he said Labor wants to ruin the weekend and, electric vehicles, they're not going to tow your trailer and blah, 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 blah. And nowadays he's like, I never said that. No, I never said that. What I was saying is that we love electric cars. We just don't want people to be forced to buy them. And people are like, yeah, but Labor wasn't going to force people to buy them. Scott Morrison's like, yeah, well, tell China that. It's like, fucking what? Yep, Chinese Anthony Albanese. Which he is starting to do. He's linking Anthony Albanese with the Chinese government. Fucking talk about... Oh my God, we're a minute 18 into this. Okay, I'm going to shut up and stop going off on weird tangents so we can get through this.
Well, that's correct. You can contact Mark Latham, his office 9230-3682, or email him mark.latham@parliament.nsw.gov.au.
Very true. Yeah.
Mark, thank you for your time.
100%. It's that
it seems that senior people in the
tradie
education
kind of
system are treating ministers of education and their policies with contempt. It's inconceivable, isn't it, that the New South Wales Education Minister can say about the issues we've raised here and you've raised in the Parliament, they've not come across a desk.
Well, it is unbelievable, Alan. And just to your earlier point about what we're dealing with here, I think, Alan, it's just the tip of the iceberg. These are just the things that we know about in the classroom. But there's 2,200 schools, many tens of thousands of classrooms in New South Wales, and we're dealing here with, I suppose, a small representative sample of what's really going on. Now, we've got a lot of material, school after...
It's almost like Conservatives lie about everything for no reason other than to create conflict. Yeah, because the thing with Conservatives is that they mostly like the status quo. They don't want to drastically change anything within society. They generally like where society is at the moment, and they want to keep it that way. They don't want to drastically overhaul, inequality or inequity. They don't want to go after the actual problems that are happening and address things. What they want to do is turn around and go, oh my God, are there some trans kids in schools? That is fucked up. Let's go and let's pass a literal law that teachers can't talk about that shit in schools. And then all the idiots that are like, yeah, this is bloody fucking good. Because I shouldn't say that. Not all the idiots. Like Alan Jones, Mark Latham. These shows have tens of millions of dollars pumped into them to plaster this shit everywhere. In Queensland, we have, the Murdoch press has a 100% print monopoly. There are no Queensland newspapers that are not Murdoch owned. So if you go and buy a physical newspaper about Queensland, it is going to be a Rupert Murdoch newspaper. And yet we still have a Labor government. Since in the last 30 years, we've had a Labor government in Queensland 27 of those years. People in Queensland want Labor governments, even though, like, the Murdoch press is just consistently handing them, and especially now with Anastasia Palaszczuk. But people in Queensland are like, yeah, she locked down the borders, and we've got a population of 5 million people, and we've had 7 COVID deaths. And people go, yeah, she did a good job. And all the minds they put up right-wing posters everywhere for decades. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, the amount of money... So Kevin Rudd was trying to pass I think it was called the mining super tax, because mining companies pay such a tiny amount of tax, like royalties, because they're literally taking stuff out of the ground, like Australian, like it's the Australian, like minerals and stuff. And then these companies paid hardly any taxes, so it's super lucrative. And then Kevin Rudd was going to put in like a fairer tax, like a more progressive tax. And they spent, I'm pretty sure it was $100 million on an ad campaign to help sink Kevin Rudd, basically. And it did. Worrying part of the report created by Mark Latham's committee is requiring teachers to report trans students to their parents. This man wants to make a lot of trans teens homeless. That's the shit that I was saying before. Like, you can't even... In a webinar, the Teachers Federation said you can't tell the parents. That is fucked. I did not know that he was going that far, that they have to tell the parents. That's so fucked. They took their jobs. That was part of the bill, but still worrying. Yeah, fuck yeah. Does he even matter anymore? I mean, I didn't think he mattered anymore, and then, like, this was, 6 months or 12 months ago, and then suddenly he was on Sky News. I was just like, oh, good. This is the timeline we live in. I got in trouble at school about gay issues, and I told them straight out, if they told my parents, I wouldn't go home. Yeah, that's fucked, man. That's brutal. That's hard as shit. Did they end up contacting your parents about it? I mean, they must not have, right? See, it depends where he goes after Scott. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's going to be in big fucking high demand.
After school does ignore the Minister for Education, whether you're talking about political content in the classroom or the teaching and promotion of gender fluidity.
There he is again. Gender fluidity. We gotta teaching the gender fluidity. They're teaching the genders in the schools and the doop. All right, Grandpa, go and sit down. You just look at the clouds and drink your lemonade. It's such bullshit. And so the point that I make in my video, like right at the end, the one that I'm writing, what I'm working towards is that Mark Latham is trying to pretend that suddenly ideology is being forced on kids, whereas ideology is always a part of everything that people are doing intentionally, particularly when you're educating. And the problem is that Mark Latham doesn't realize that he has an ideology. He sees his ideology as normal, and so the status quo to him is just normal, rather than an ideology, a set of beliefs and a set of values. And so what he is upset about is that his ideology is no longer mainstream. And because of that, he's fucking having a shit fit. And he's saying, well, we just need to go back to the normal blah, 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 blah. And what he means by that is we need to go back to my ideology, the ideology that I want taught in schools. But he doesn't realize it. Well, maybe he does realize it and he's just acting dumb this way and saying we need to go back to the good, solid blah, blah, blahs. Maybe. I don't know. Teachers are already iffy on confidentiality. I've had friends outed to parents by school counsellors. Can't imagine how bad it'd be if it was official policy. Yeah, it is hard. Obviously I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher, and there's so much legislation around children's safety and etc. etc. But then if you're informed that there's the possibility of a child being harmed, you cannot let them go home. The police have to be called Like, even if it's, 15 minutes before the end of the day, you have to drop everything. You have to get to the principal. You have to let them know. They keep the kid at school. The police get called. Child services get called. Like, it is a whole deal. But yeah, people like this fucking meddling in legislation that is meant to protect students, protect vulnerable children. I was outed by a counsellor eventually. That's so fucked. Vice principal. Ah, that's right. Yeah, I remember him. Wow. I can't believe he was going to tell your parents. Gary Awesome. The problem with that Gary Awesome stuff is that now I feel as though I need to make a really well-researched video about about how vaccine mandates are not at all relatable to the domestic, social, and political machinations of Weimar Germany in the lead up to Hitler and the Nazis taking control. So, it's a different kind of stupid from Gary Awesome.
Ministers, by and large, in the New South Wales government don't run their departments, and
So we're not gonna. This is the last Mark Latham video that we've got, but he mentions in here 2 books that these, I think, preschool kids were being exposed to, and it's so disgusting and terrible and blah blah blah. But I actually went and I've got videos of read-throughs of the books, and you'll not believe it, but wow, they're not at all what he's fucking talking about. Okay, so I was going to ask, we need to talk about these mandates. Obviously, I support them, but I'm scared for Queensland Labor. All the old people are very mad. Are they? I haven't really sensed any backlash. Are there mandates in Queensland? I feel like the approach of Queensland Labor has been a lot softer than New South Wales and Victoria. I saw something about businesses might still, businesses can accept unvaccinated people, but then they would still need to be doing the masks or social distancing or something like that. Sage's Facebook page is getting hammered. Although, to be fair, with that stuff, with all the Labor Facebook posts I've seen, always the third react is a laughing emoji. Like Albos, Richard Marles, just any Labor person. Just third emoji is always a laugh react. And I'm like, okay, the LNP trolls are there. They're out there. They're following. Good job, guys. Okay, we're gonna whip through the rest of this video until they start talking about these books, and then we're gonna watch these horrendous cultural Marxist books.
I can assure you, the Minister for Education is not running the school system in our state.
Absolutely.
And results are going backwards, and this junk in the classroom is a huge part of the problem.
Yeah, it's just the indoctrination. I just want to repeat because it's important. The question you asked the New South Wales Education Minister 10 days ago, and parents, listen to this. Mark Latham in the Parliament said, my question's directed to the Minister for Education and Early Childhood Learning. I refer...
that is a pretty bad ratio. Not good. Although, thankfully, Queensland now has 4-year elections. So, is it 2022? No, it's 2024, I think, for Queensland, isn't it? I think we voted last year. Because that was when Deb Frecklington got the boot. I think we do have until 2024, and by that time, I feel like it's definitely going to be over. Anastasia Palaszczuk was the first female political leader at the state or federal level in Australia to be elected, survive the entire thing, and then be re-elected. Queensland Labor is fucking powerful, hey?
The Minister to answer on the notice paper saying that the Grow Your Mind consultancy with it...
Holy shit. That would probably actually be a good one. We should do that. We're going to do that. Not tonight, I'm going to get that set up, though, because that will be real good. I'll definitely watch that.
It's lessons on animal yoga and shark versus dolphin thinking.
Shark versus dolphin thinking. Sorry.
The Minister to answer on the notice paper saying that the Grow Your Mind consultancy, with its lessons on animal yoga and shark versus dolphin thinking.
So shark versus dolphin thinking. Being involved in schools, this is my 10th year as a teacher. I guarantee it's something like sharks attack, dolphins swim away. It's fucking something like that. It's giving kids some sort of metaphor or an analogy so that instead of like reacting and flipping the fuck out at something, they can be more like a dolphin and swim through the waves and go with the flow. Fuck, it's so stupid. Yeah, I'll send you DM when I've got that set up. That'd be good fun.
Is being funded in 60 New South Wales government schools. He said, is the Minister aware of the podcast produced by Grow Your Mind, particularly on the 23rd of February, when an 11-year-old girl asks a boy if he has a crush on a student called Jess. When he answers no, the girl asks, are you a girl trapped inside a boy's body?
Oh my God. I went and got that entire fucking podcast and I listened to the whole thing, and it's like this dramatized play. It's like all these kids, and sometimes they get asked questions and sometimes they're doing a play. And yeah, this girl comes up and she's like, oh, do you like this girl? It's like, no. It's like, oh, why? Blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, I just don't like her. And it's like, oh, why? Are you a girl trapped in a boy's body? And he's like, no. And she goes, well, okay then. Like, she was saying it in almost a derogatory way, like, well, why don't you fucking like her? And look at their faces. Ellen Jones is just like, ugh, I can't believe it. And Mark's like, these bloody teachers with their cultural Marxism. Yeah. It's all going to be in the fucking video. Oh, man, it's so dumb.
That is, the boy must be transgender.
No, that is not the... One, if you listen to it, he's misrepresenting it. Otherwise, he didn't listen to it, and he's just a shit journalist. Like, fucking take your pick, dude.
Because he doesn't have a crush on Jess. Mark Latham asks, is the Minister aware of how the podcast continues with a female student saying, these people think she's a boy trapped in a girl's body?
And that is because she enjoys doing things that boys like to do. And then she says, oh, I'm a girl, but people think I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body. She's complaining that people, like other kids, are like, oh, you do this, you're a girl. Like, that's a boy thing. Like, fucking dude, in the 90s we were having these discussions in primary school. I literally remember in grade, what would that have been? Grade 4. We all sat in a circle, like the class, and we were talking about these, well, we're friends and she's a girl and I'm a boy, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, questioning these preconceived gender roles. And here they're just like, I can't believe it. Kids talking about gender. Kids talking about literally the roles that are forced on them that they have to play out, but that they don't play out. And they're like, that's weird. Like, I'm a girl and I do these quote-unquote boy things. And then people go, oh, are you a boy inside that girl's body? And I'm like, no. Like, they're questioning of their own fucking accord. Oh my God. Fuck it. Just angry again. There you go, everyone. It's just angry. You're very welcome.
And despite repeated warnings about Grow Your Mind, how has the Minister, you said, allowed this dangerous, nonsensical rubbish into our schools?
Dangerous.
And why she failed so bad?
The entire podcast is lovely. Like, that episode that I listened to, it's just so nice, and they ask the kids about different things, and there's these kids. It made me think, wow, like, kids do have this really rich inner life, and they're thinking critically, and they're taking in so much about the world, and they're questioning so much, and they're trying to fit in. And I went, wow, yeah, I remember being a kid, and it's real It's real fucking difficult. The worst thing to do is to come along as an adult and say, I have all the answers. Here it is. Knowledge is settled. Here's the answers. Girls are girls, boys are boys. Boys play with trucks, girls do dance and have a doll and babies.
In her duty of care to the primary school students, she then said, Mark, she wasn't aware of the podcast.
Mom, Daddy, I wasn't aware of the podcast. But what do you say about that? Go for it.
Well, that's right, and it's a huge problem, Alan, that you raise these things and 10 days later I still haven't got a response. Back in March at the budget estimates, I've looked at these consultancies.
I still haven't got a response about this random podcast with these kids on it that are doing a little play and then answering some questions about how they play with other kids. This is... The state is going to hell, the world is dying, the West, this is the fall of Rome, and I can't believe it. I know, what? It's so ridiculous. Yeah. Yep, that's very true, actually. Wow, that's a good point. And they're like, how dare these children be so fucking uppity? And then other people are like, children are people. And they're like, no, they're not. They should be listening to me and they should be doing what I say. And when I say jump, it's how high. It's just that it goes back to that weird conservative reactionary fucking love of hierarchy. And they love it because they think they should be at the top. That's why they love it. They're not going to love hierarchy if they think they should be at the bottom. Oh, man. Oh no, how long is it taking for the comments to come through? Oh wait, was that when I was talking about the podcast? Yeah, that was that was a while ago. It's being brought over the Atlantic, over the Pacific by carrier pigeon. That's how good the internet is in Australia. We have I think we're 67th or something in the world for internet quality. It's real good. And then I live in that's brutal. Yeah. And then I live in a regional town as well. And then also outside that regional town. So it's pretty great.
One of the problems in the education system is external consultants. We're paying these people. They're swarming all over the schools under the banner of well-being and other nebulous concepts. And they're in the school producing dangerous political material and content like what you just read out. Bewildering, totally bewildering for 11-year-olds, of course. And 10 days later, I still haven't got a response for the minister. But back in budget estimates, I said, if you are a consultant coming into a school, the duty of care to the students must mean that these groups are accredited, their credentials and qualifications are checked, and there must be an evidence base. What they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. You are 2 hours away from me, Jackson, and I will fight you. I agree with Mark here. Yeah, teaching strategies, pedagogy should be evidence-based. He does not know what the fucking evidence is. He talks about trans people like it's bomb-making instructions. That is exactly how they think. And it's like I was saying earlier, 20 years ago, he would have been saying the same thing about gay people, about schools where they went, gay people exist, obviously, and that's okay to be gay. And to them, it is like bomb instructions. It really is, because teacher on computer fill. Yes. These this B-roll is so good. Jackson, I'll destroy you. It is to them like fucking bomb-making instructions, because it destroys their entire worldview. Just like it did 20 years ago. Just now how conservatives have to accept homosexuals. They have to go, yeah, no, we're down with Milo Yiannopoulos, and then he does a pivot and he's like, well, I'm no longer gay and I'm a Catholic now, because they don't really believe in it. You can't really be gay and be one of these conservatives and be in with them. That's why Alan Jones never talks about his sexuality. Like, how many people do you think know that Alan Jones is gay? I would wager not many. Because he can't be. He can't be visibly gay and maintain this kind of seat in the reactionary conservative sphere. And that's fucking sad as well. But it also shows how much of a grift it is, because he keeps that shit locked down.
The school is actually going to add to student results and academic attainment. So why haven't we got an accreditation scheme for people coming into our school? Anyone who goes into a school...
Yeah, that's a good idea. An accreditation scheme for people that go into schools. But, Mark, wouldn't that increase bureaucracy? Wouldn't that increase red tape? I thought conservatives were against that kind of shit. Oh, wait, no, they're actually not. They just say it when it comes to business, but when it comes to people, and people that are trying to be helped, then you are more than happy to throw as much red tape as possible at it. Yeah, we need as many bureaucrats as possible. We need as many public servants having to sift through things and do double checks and do stamps, blah, 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 blah. He's not racist, he sleeps with black men. Yes, that is exactly it. And Lauren Southern as well. It was like, Lauren Southern can't be racist. She's got a black guy as a boyfriend. I mean, the bizarre, like, the racist backlash that she got from her, like, alt-right community from that, though, kind of shows... sure, that says something.
School needs working with children, check, sign in, and so forth. Why aren't these groups accredited? Why hasn't the minister acted on what I raised in March? And at that budget estimates, I raised with the then head of the department, Mark Scott, an outfit called Resilience Donut. He thought it was some kind of joke. No, it's in your schools, in your system, something as nonsensical as Resilience Donut.
Resilience Donut. Okay, let's break it down. We want to teach kids to be resilient. Fucking, I thought that's what right-wing, like, conservatives would love. These soft, bloody snowflakes drinking their soy, having their lattes, not going out and picking fruit for 30 cents a fucking carton. They're too soft. They need to get hard. They need to be more resilient. And then these people are like, hey, like, let's teach resilience. But we don't want to, like, resilience is a pretty fucking big word, so let's call it a resilience donut. And, like, you know, you come in and you fucking teach it, and donut, they know what that is, and then you link resilience with it, and then they have this kind of mnemonic device where they can go, oh, cool, I'm going to try and be, you know, a little bit more resilient about this instead of flying off the handle. No. Mark Latham says no. We cannot try and teach kids to be resilient because it has a silly word added on the end. I will not put up with this. My name is Mark Latham, and I get paid more than $100,000 a year to fight. Probably, he's the leader of he's leader of One Nation. He would probably be on more than $200,000 a year, and he was an MP before the entitlement scheme went out, so he probably still gets a federal pension from when he was a federal MP. Talk about the fucking elites, right?
Along with growing your mind, all these other consultancies, there's another one called High Resolves that is really, really full-on political indoctrination.
Oh, my God. Tell us about it, Mark. What is it? I'm sure he's about to go into it. Really, really full-on political indoctrination. So he said that, now he's about to... Because I'm a teacher, so he's just made an assertion, and now he's going to justify it.
These outfits are every...
Oh, no, he's not going to justify it. He just moves on. He makes an assertion, and then, just like a very, someone that's very interested in education, very interested in teaching children, very interested in the evidence-based pedagogy, after he makes an assertion, he moves on. No need to worry about that. It's in the past. It's fine. It's good. Just leave it be. Just chill out. Like, just take it for granted that they're a very, very full-on political ideology, blah, 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 blah. Guys, can't you just trust me?
everywhere, and the minister's doing nothing to control them or give them an accreditation scheme.
But Mark, never mind a minute. Where is the Premier of New South Wales? Parents have got to understand this is total indoctrination of our kids.
It's total indoctrination of our kids. I wonder what books are on his shelves. Well, one says, and I saw it before. It's a little German dictionary. What books he keeps below the frame? Like the Turner Diaries. What was that fucking French one? Released in the 80s. Was it the 80s or the 70s? It was just absolutely like racist and disgusting. What was that book? Where there's like all of the, like quote unquote third world people are on boats and they're coming towards, France or some shit. I think it was a French book. And it's like, Camp of the Saints. 100%. Yep, Camp of the Saints. Wow. Good job. Oh, now I'm just depressed thinking about that fucking book. And the Turner Diaries. Oh, yeah. He's got this little German dictionary on his shelf. That would be a cheap shot. That... Oh, no, it says, the boat. The. Oh, well, no man that speaks German could be evil.
We'll run out of time tonight, but I do want to talk to you next week about this High Resolves consultancy, which is in dozens, you just mentioned, New South Wales schools: Kincumber, Sydney Boys, Prairie Wood, James Roos, Hornsby Girls, Ryde.
Okay, they sound like a bunch of fucked up schools for rich assholes. I'm not going to lie.
Established by leading members of the Baha'i faith in Australia. They believe in one world government and the abolition of the nation state. The Baha'i...
Sorry, but isn't that what like most Christians believe in too? Like most monotheistic religions? Pretty sure that's what they believe in.
I run and fund the program. I mean, Mark, who knows this is going on apart from you?
Well, I'm mentioning this.
Mark, how are you the one person in all of the world that knows this stuff? It's crazy. Wow. So either literally every other person doesn't know what's going on, or what's the other option there? I don't know what the other option could be.
In the parliament and raising the alarm bells all the time. And, this High Resolves Baha'i group, we shouldn't have religious organisations teaching this stuff in schools.
Oh, we shouldn't have religious or... Oh, there you go. Baha'i is an Abrahamic faith. We shouldn't have religious organisations teaching this stuff in schools. So he's against RE in schools. He's against the federal government's chaplaincy program. How interesting. I guarantee that he is not against those things.
They've developed an alternative curriculum. Here's some of it. Alan, pages and pages of alternative curriculum. Has that been approved by NESA in New South Wales? It's wall-to-wall political indoctrination.
But you don't like the curriculum that's being taught that is approved. Why the fuck would it matter if... Like, what the fuck? Separation of church and state. Yeah, we have... Like, the chaplain in our school does a really good job. I imagine that most chaplains are very caring, loving people that come into it because they want to help kids. And they're not overtly religious. However, what would help a lot more is if we had more guidance officers funded. Like actual, or even like child psychologists. The Labor government actually, one of the things that they're rolling out in Queensland that they're testing is, and it's only in 100 schools at the moment. It was one of their election promises from the last election. But they're rolling out GPs. They're going to have GPs in schools. So just like you have a school youth health nurse, you're going to actually have a GP in your school. I think that is such a fantastic idea. Like, schools are such a powerful and important institution in a community. And I think getting those services into schools is so important and would do so much for both the kids, but for the community as a whole. And then you roll that on as they grow up, and then their a bit healthier, they're a bit more mentally healthier, they're more resilient. That's going to help the community, and then they have kids, and then they can better deal with them, and then the kids have access to a GP and counsellors and etc. in schools. These things are good for society. I thought that, yeah, GP is a general practitioner. So yeah, a doctor, just a normal medical doctor. I thought Conservatives were all about society, all about maintaining society, all about helping society, creating a healthy society, strong communities. These are the kinds of things that you want to do. But they fucking don't, because all they want to do is make society a market. And you buy everything because their friends or themselves have businesses and they're going to get kickbacks, or they're going to make profits, or they're shareholders in something. Wow, this really is taking a long time to get through a 7.5 minute video. I don't even know if the other thing talking about the book is in here.
Pushing so-called colorism, gender as a social construct, microaggressions, global identity politics, critiquing so-called white...
Global identity politics. What the fuck are you talking about? That is the first time I've ever... I've also watched this video before. Global identity politics. What the fuck could he be talking about?
privilege, and on it goes. This is just straight from the Woke Green Handbook.
Woke Green? What are you talking about, Mark?
Indoctrination straight to the students. And parents have raised it with me, saying, how can this be in our schools? And most importantly, how are we paying for this junk?
Good on you. Listen, we'll go.
And most importantly, how are we paying for it? Of course, it all comes back to that. It's not... Look, I'm fine with them teaching gender fluidity. I just don't want to have to pay for it, okay? If someone else pays for it, I'm fucking fine. But is my tax money going to this? If it is, I don't want it. Colorism? I have no fucking idea. Oh, actually, colorism. It's what it probably is, because the opposite is like color blindness. You know, I don't see color, man. Like, hey, I just treat everyone as an individual. Like, everyone's just a person. And then you point out that, you know, Indigenous people in Australia make up 2.6% of the population, but are, I think, 25% of the prison population. And if you're colorblind, you don't see race, then the only thing you have to fall back on is, well, I guess Indigenous people just commit more crimes. Because they won't look at any kind of racial... They don't see race as a variable for that. And so when you say things like that, and then these people go, oh, you that's racist. You're saying, you pointing at race. Or did you just say he's Aboriginal? Did you say you're racist? You're the actual racist. What was that? They're completely overrepresented in prisons. Well, that's not my problem. But don't be racist. Don't say that word. Word soup. You can just put words like woke, identity, gender into a markup chain text generator, and that's what you list off when you're asked to name bad things. 100%. 100% it is. Colorism is when people are judged by the color of their skin within the bounds of their own race. Right, there you go. Oh, and he'd be objecting to also, like, people saying, well, white people have got it a bit better in this society, don't they? And then he's like, what? That's so racist. How can you be racist? In America, there's a thing where some groups of African Americans are bigoted towards A people with darker, lighter skin. Huh, well, that's interesting. But I guess that would come down to, like, that would be based on, like, broader societal perceptions of that, right? Like, if they had darker skin, those groups would consider them as, like, less, like, they'd dehumanize them more. And if they had lighter skin, they're more, like, white passing, and so they would get, like, more privileges than darker skinned African Americans. I imagine that's kind of how it goes. Very, very open to being wrong about that, though.
Through that next week, Mark, you're doing a phenomenal job. People are waking up, but at the end of the day, government are doing nothing. Gladys, you better start focusing on some of this stuff, because it's a serious issue, and it will be at election time, I can assure you.
Well, Gladys isn't there anymore because she fucking quit as soon as she... it was brought out that she was going to get dragged in front of the ICAC. The what does ICAC stand for? ICAC. Corruption? Internal... Corruption? Crime and corruption? I don't know why it's actually a thing, but that probably applies well. Yeah, true. No, I reckon you're right. Okay, yes. Anyway, Gladys resigned. Now we have a very conservative Catholic Premier of New South Wales. That's cool. And our Prime Minister is evangelical. Oh, that's sick as well. Okay, so there's this... Oh, here it is. Parents of the... No, that must not be it. Oh, here we go. Here we fucking go. This is where they talk about the books that are just so dangerous.
Look, I've just mentioned that high amongst policy issues requiring aggressive
Independent
debate
Commission Against
is
Corruption.
education.
Thank you.
We're betraying our children, make no mistake about it. They're leaving school with their understanding of their own history and geography, punctuation, spelling and grammar, intellectually bankrupt. The problem is the graduating teachers are from the same system.
The problem is that in Australia... So the problem is that education is not valued in Australia. And there are some good reasons for that, and there are some not so great reasons for that. So one of the biggest reasons is that a standard education no longer represents a pathway to a solid job. And although, you know, preparing people for a job in a society shouldn't be everything that education is about, it is important. You don't want to throw, you know, young adults out into the world and them not be prepared to actually, you know, be able to make a living. But the other part of it, you know, obviously you want to teach people, you know, all the kind of quote unquote soft skills about, you know, critical thinking and they're called 21st century skills in America, in Queensland rather. You know, working with information technology and blah, 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 all of those kind of things, critical thinking and being creative and all the stuff that, because everything is so amorphous and fluid and flexible these days, people also need to be adaptable. They need to have these skills, you know, they need to have knowledge, they need to have cognitions, you know, cognitive skills, like evaluating and analyzing and explaining and developing and all that kind of stuff. Synthesizing. But they also then, you know, need to have physical skills as well. Part of the reason is that we also don't value education. Like, this stuff does not value education. What it values is kids shutting the hell up, learning their, 3 R's, being able to regurgitate shit for a test, which they also then turn around and say how bad that is for kids. Oh, this isn't doing anything for their future. And then they're like, why don't people value education in this day and age? Anyway, that's a whole nother video. Did he just claim that teachers also grow up learning gender in schools? Why is he presenting this as a new thing? Huh. Yeah, that's got me actually stumped. I don't think he even identified that contradiction in his own argument.
They too know little about history, geography, spelling, grammar and writing. And you know something? For all the billions of dollars that are spent, there's not one education minister across the issue. In New South Wales, the only hope of the site is Mark Latham. If I were the Premier...
When parents in the US are angry, kids were reading To Kill a Mockingbird. Well, there's this big move in the moment, this big move in the US at the moment, because of all the QAnon shit, and that's all falling apart. It's fracturing into these smaller things that are turning on, anti-vax kind of stuff, and repositioning themselves so they've got their different issues. But there's this big movement where they're all trying to push into school boards in America, because unlike it in Australia, we have PNCs, the Parent and Citizen Committee, and it's where a few parents, out of a school of 100 kids, 4 parents will turn up, and they meet with the principal, and basically they just agree to whatever the principal says is going to happen. But in America, they have elections and shit for these school boards, and they have legitimate power. Leet One, if you're still there, can you explain that as well? Because I feel like that is what is happening in America. And there's these big pushes now to actually get rid of, to ban books, or to have to go through and look for books that are talking about, LGBTQ plus stuff. That was hilarious. Proud Boy members attending school board meetings with a bulletproof vest. I saw that video. This, like, 4 Proud Boys dudes standing at the back, like, hands crossed with vests, with masks on. Like, what the fuck is going on in America? Like, are they actually okay? This is an issue in Australia. Like, this bill and the kind of bigotry that underpins it and the rhetoric that surrounds it, this is important because it damages vulnerable people and particularly vulnerable kids. This is important. However, in America, it seems like shit is fucked up.
Yeah, I'd make him education minister. But if they don't know anything about history and geography and can't spell and can't punctuate and can't write, this is why a mother has written to Mark Latham about her three-year-old at school, and the books that they're trying to read, the 3-year-old. Let Mark tell the story, and you be angry and do something. Mark, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Childcare, 3 years old. They're being read a book, Pink is for Boys. Mark.
Well, Alan, this is at the Warriewood West a childcare centre, an outfit called Only About Children. They actually run 70...
Sorry.
For boys. Childcare, 3 years old. They're being read a book, Pink is for Boys.
Oh my goodness, no, Pink is for Boys. On the books, Bo has a couple of good videos on it. Is that Bo of the 5th column? Might have to, I don't think I've watched any of his videos. I've seen people talking about him. Yeah, I don't know if I've actually seen any of his. So, they've just mentioned Pink is for Boys. Oh, how disgusting. How despicable. Let's watch a video of a read-through of that book and just see how vile and disgusting it really is. Above the 5th column, cool.
Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Nicole Poorer, and I'm the state senator for the 12th District. Today, you'll be joining me as I read Pink is for Boys. It is written by Rob Perlman and illustrated by Etta Cabin. Pink is for boys and girls.
Oh no.
And bows on fancy clothes.
Oh, what?
Blue is for girls.
You're kidding me.
And boys.
That's terrible.
And uniforms on a team.
That's a team.
Yellow is for boys and girls. And a crown to wear.
Oh no.
Green is for girls and boys. And grass to run on. Red is for boys and girls. And cars racing along the track. Orange is for girls and boys.
Oh my goodness.
And popsicles dribbling down sticky chins.
Oh, that's basically communism.
Purple is for boys.
Purple?
And girls.
What?
And unicorns. Because...
Oh, not unicorns.
Unicorns. Brown is for girls.
Brown is not for girls.
And boys.
What?
And teddy bears to cuddle.
Oh, gender fluidity.
Black and white are for boys and girls.
They're not colours.
And puppies and kittens to pet. And all the colors are for everyone. Girls and boys.
Girls wear tutus and smell like flowers. Boys wear singlets and smell like motor oil and tobacco. I'm just imagining these little like 5-year-olds, like, you know, the little rascals kind of like leaning on an open bonnet, just all like rolling like smokes. Pink being a girl's color is a 20th century phenomenon. Yeah, absolutely. But like, I think blue used to be a girl's color because it was seen as really soft and delicate, kind of like the sky. And then pink was like close to red, close to blood, close to, you know, inflamed passion. And so it was definitely not a girl's colour, particularly not, during the Victorian era. This story is damaging my preconceived gender norms and making me feel less shame. We should ban it. How dare kids grow up thinking that literal colours can be for anyone? These people are actually damaged in the head. Like, this is a severe... I know that Mark Latham likes to talk about ideology a lot. This is a severe ideological poisoning. When you are upset about a book like this, that is the most... Like, this is the most milquetoast, like, mediocre message for kids. Just saying, hey, you can all be, like, a person. That's fine. Also, I guarantee they would look at this and go, oh, look at the non-white people and look at the kid in a wheelchair. Oh, this is gender, blah, 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 blah. This is diversity, inclusion. Like, different people exist. Like, trans people exist. Boys that like pink exist. Girls that like brown exist. It's just so fucked up that these people are so stupid, so poisoned by their ideology. There you go, there's a bit more of a rant.
And flowers, and butterflies, and rainbows in the
flags,
sky.
Obviously.
Thank you for joining me as I read Pink is for Boys.
Oh, can't believe it. Can't believe how disgusting this is. This is just ridiculous. This is insane. Right?
Look, I've just tried and something.
And they actually run 75 centres around Australia, and they've decided in the month of February that the children aged 3 and 4 need to be introduced to the topic of gender diversity through these books. Julian is a mermaid.
Oh, Julian is a mermaid? You've got to be shitting me. That's crazy. I've got it here right now. Where's Julian as a mermaid? It just lays bare how empty their claims are. Who's going to take you serious about a gender being a threat when you think purple being a boy's colour is dangerous political material? Yeah. It's people that wish they were still in the Cold War. People that wish they could be talking about, this is secret USSR, like Soviet propaganda. But all they can muster is, they're saying that purple is a boy's colour. And I'm a bit upset about that. I swear, contemporary conservatism could be boiled down to 40s advertisement treated as tradition. Yes, that's the thing. It's like the whole Mad Men thing. Like, Don Draper is not someone to be idolized in that. Like, he looks cool and he's got it. Like, that's the whole fucking thing. Is that his outward appearance, looks schmick, but he's fucking suffering and his life sucks. Like, you're not meant to want to be Don Draper after watching Mad Men. But these people are looking at it and going, yeah, wow, I wish I could be that. So it's 100% accurate to say we elect our school boards and they determine a lot about what's taught in our schools. State and country level. Boards of education. Oh, what? That is crazy. But don't you also elect your sheriffs or your police or something over there? There was some controversy early last decade about a Texas Board of Education, including books that taught Moses was an uncontroversial historical figure. What? How do those textbooks even get written? Don't actually know the exact boundaries of their power, but determining what books are and aren't in a curriculum is 100% something they can do. What? That is messed up. Wow. District attorneys are elected. What? What? That's messed up. Wow. Okay. Wow, sorry, I'm just trying to process this. Like, they get to choose what books and stuff are in curriculums. That is ridiculous. Well, speaking of dangerous books,
it's me, Miss Hodgson. I'm an English, music and drama teacher based in London, and I've got all sorts of games and stories and activities to share with you whilst you're at home. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favourite picture books, Julian is a Mermaid.
Sheriffs and police are sometimes elected, but the head of a police force can also be a chief of police appointed by the mayor. What? So many political, appointments. We just have... I guess Australia must follow more of a kind of continental, like a British or a European system of public servants, where you just go up through the ranks and then you get promoted, like from within. Because there is our state education bodies determine what the curriculum is, but then they don't actually say what books are and aren't in the curriculum. Like, you can use whatever books you want as long as you can link them to the curriculum. That's wild.
And the blurb on the back says, the day Julian sees 3 mesmerising women dressed up as mermaids, everything changes. All he can think of is becoming a mermaid himself. But what will his Nana think? Let's listen to the story.
Wait. There's a chief of police and a sheriff who control separate departments in the same town. I just assumed that they were the same thing. What's a sheriff do then? So what? When they go into conflict. And when they can go into conflict, which is always hilarious. What? What do they each do? I just assumed that a sheriff was a name for, the police. This is wild. I'm learning so much about America at the moment.
Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love.
Okay, so he's swimming in a pool. Uh-oh. Yeah, mermaids are sick.
This is a boy named
Sorry, Mark.
Julian. And this is his Nana. And those are some mermaids. Julian loves mermaids.
Yeah. Good job, man. Okay, so it's a bit fantasy.
Let's go, honey. This is our stop.
Yep, he saw these glamorous looking women and he was like, sick, I love mermaids. Yep.
Nana, did you see the mermaids? I saw them, honey.
Cool. Seems pretty good. Nothing untowards.
Nana, I am also a mermaid.
Yeah, kids love...
I'm going to go and take a bath. You be good. Julian has an idea.
Yep, so now he's gonna dress up. He's putting on a costume because he likes to be a mermaid. What riveting politically dangerous storytelling this is. Okay, he pulls down a sheet. And he's a mermaid. He gets in trouble. Because obviously... Shit, this is ruining Western civilization. Yeah, I get this now.
Come here, honey. For me, Nana.
Oh.
For you, Julian.
Fuck it. Kids love jewelry. Kids love anything that they can put on. that makes them seem a little bit fancy. A little bit grown up, a little bit special.
Where are we going?
Ooh.
You'll see.
Oh no, they're going to the Gender Fluidity University course.
Mermaids, whispers Julian. Like you, honey. Let's join them.
Nice. So, and now he gets to be involved in a parade.
And they do.
People have got fish on their heads. People are dancing. There's the mermaid chicks. All right, let's see how they destroy Western civilization. Okay, this next, they're just swimming. So the next page must be like hail marks, down with capitalism. Huh, that's weird. That's so weird. That's so weird that it's literally just about a kid dressing up because he likes mermaids. How strange. Wow. Huh, yeah, I guess that is destroying Western civilization. So just going back here, like there's chief of police and a sheriff who control separate departments in the same town, and when they go into conflict, which is always hilarious, sheriffs are elected if I recall, and a chief is appointed. Sheriffs usually have deputies, and the chief of police usually has officers. Take this with some salt, by the way. I'm pretty sure this is generalization, that's it. No one has the same story on it because it isn't standardized. That is wild. America seems wild. This book is disgusting, dangerous, and overt mermaid propaganda being taught to children. See, I had exactly the same thought. I wonder if these people know, and the parents know, that mermaids are being taught to their children. They're going to go in and like, mermaids, like, and pink is for boys. It's pretty fucked up, really. Like, also mermaids. Did I say
I've got an outfit called Only About Children. They actually run 75 centres around Australia.
Oh,
and they
75.
decided in the month
That's
of
the worst
February
one.
that the children aged 3 and 4 need to be introduced to the topic of gender diversity.
Mark, what the fuck do you think the point of school is? What's the point of going and learning things, Mark? Do you think maybe that when kids are in preschool or in prep, they are around kids of other genders? And do you think that they might have some questions or some thoughts about that? Do you think that they might be trying to traverse the terrain of how to interact with other genders and also where they fit in with that? Could a book that says you are allowed to like any color you want be good for that? Do you think, Mark? I don't know, maybe.
Through these books, Julian is a mermaid and pink is for boys. And they're trying to justify this in the most bizarre manner possible.
The most bizarre manner possible. How is that, Mark? You've just made an assertion. Let's justify it now. Let's back that shit up, Mark.
In New South Wales, they set up a thing called the Children's Guardian. And they put out some guidelines. I don't know whether they needed to about.
They put out some guidelines. I don't know whether they needed to. Isn't this whole fucking education bill about there needs to be legislation to protect our kids? Wasn't that the whole thing? Interesting, Mark. Interesting. It is really fucking wild. Like the Wild West. I remember seeing some movie with The Rock, and he was it Walk Tall? And he like is a veteran, and he comes back to a small town, and then he gets like attacked by developers, and then like gets voted in as the sheriff, and then like just starts some vigilante shit, and also like just puts all of his friends into positions of power as cops. Wait, was that the one with Johnny Knoxville? I think people shit talk that movie, but I don't think I minded it. Wait, so this is what they're angry about colours being okay and mermaids being seen as cool as fuck. It literally is. This is the two... Like I said before, this is a national program on a 24-hour news channel. Like Alan Jones's program would be one of the big ticket programs of the week. And they've got fucking News Corp, Rupert Murdoch money behind them, with researchers and all sorts of shit. And the two examples they have are the two books that we just watched. For how gender identity push in New South Wales schools, the subtext is destroying, dangerous for your kids. What the fuck? Like, it literally... Oh my... This was meant to be a chill stream. Oh, what the fuck?
Child safety. The Children's Guardian is supposed to look after things like the foster care system.
So I also have quotes from the office of the what is it? We can just have a look. The Office of the Children's Guardian, and they actually made recommendations. They submitted recommendations for the bill that Mark Latham is trying to get passed. And you will not believe it, but something that is 100% for protecting children want none of Mark Latham's bullshit. It's so strange.
The adoption system, but they put out these guidelines. They're not binding, and they've been taken up by Only About Children to say that it's mandatory to read these particular books and be teaching gender.
Mandatory to be reading these particular books. Pink is for boys and Julian is a mermaid. Those two books, Mark. Have you read those books? Actually, has he read those books? What the... If he has read those books, he's a lying grifter. If he hasn't read those books, he's spouting wild bullshit.
The diversity of 3 and 4-year-olds. Well, the children's...
Gender diversity in 3 and 4-year-olds. They... okay. I'm just sorry. I need to...
Guardians there to stop child abuse. And there are many, many parents, including the parents who brought this to my attention, to say that pushing gender diversity upon 3 and 4-year-olds, the idea a little girl can be a boy and vice versa.
Neither of those books said that a little girl can be a boy. His bookshelf is gone. His books included too many dangerous political ideas, and his books were full of gender diversity, so you had to get rid of them. In German, you have different pronouns for men and women. Wait. No, not pronouns. Also, actually, is that German? Or is that French? I think it's French and Italian. I think it's the Romance languages, isn't it? Well, not German. Okay, just disregard what I said. Those two books do not say anything about being trans. All they say is that kids can enjoy things. It's so fucked up.
It's confusing. It's sexualizing kids.
It's sexualizing kids. What the fuck are you talking about? Brown is for girls. Brown is for boys. Oh, sexualizing kids. Blue is for girls. Blue is for boys. And also the color of a fucking baseball uniform. Oh, sexualizing kids. Plenty of languages have different nouns for men and women. Oh, yeah. There you go. Well, he probably realized that, and that's why he had to get rid of his entire fucking bookshelf. Because that's dangerous gender diversity. Because C... Oh, no. Mark never has to justify anything that he says. It's just dangerous gender diversity, political ideology, global identity politics, cultural Marxism.
Kids who've got no awareness of this. It is, in fact, a form of child abuse.
Let me just read what Childcare have described Pink is for Boys. Quote, the book rethinks and reframes stereotypical blue-pink gender binary and empowers children and their grown-ups to express themselves in every colour of the rainbow.
That is... I mean, yes, I agree with that. However, that is the wordiest fucking way to say, this book talks about how you can like any colour if you are a boy or a girl. Full stop. Hi, Amir. How are you? Just be warned, I'm going off at the moment. We started chilled out, and now we're into just weird right-wing reactionary grifters. So just be warned that I'm going on a lot of very fun random tangents at the moment. The book... Okay, let's see what Alan is going to say about this explanation of the book. Which, sorry, does that mean that he hasn't read the book? Because fucking what?
A lovely opportunity for our toddlers to learn more about identity.
Let's just see the words that he emphasizes in that sentence. Is it toddler and identity?
In every colour of the rainbow, a lovely opportunity for our toddlers to learn more about identity, gender stereotyping, colours, acceptance, inclusion and diversity.
Identity, baby, please. LUI on the daily.
Mark, they're 3-year-olds. I mean, this Julian is a mermaid. And they've got illustrations.
Julian is a mermaid. And they've got illustration. He's read the blurb. The book is too complex for him. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Okay, Julian is a mermaid. What have they got pictures of? Alan, which is so destroying our entire society. Civilization is crumbling. Why?
To enter the topic of gender diversity with images that can be discussed about gender diversity and a boy who desires to be a...
Wait, what? Alan, maybe it's because I paused it. Let's go again.
The topic of gender mermaid.
Okay, go
Mark,
again.
they're 3-year-olds. I mean, this Julian is a mermaid.
Yep.
And they've got illustrations to enter the topic of gender diversity with images that can be discussed about gender diversity and a boy...
They've got illustrations about gender diversity, looking at images about the topic of gender diversity, about a boy, yeah. And what a identity. And that's why we hate that word. Also, they definitely hate women.
Boy who desires to be a girl.
A boy who desires to be a girl.
3-year-olds, Mark.
Sorry. Where is that quote from? Gender diversity and a boy who desires to be a girl. He's the one sexualizing things now. He is. You know what I think happened? I think they wrote the script for this and then they gave it to their producers because, like, I've edited some videos in my time. They gave it to the producers and they said, hey, these 2 books, Pink is for Boys, Julian is a Mermaid. Go and find us some evidence. They read Julian as a Mermaid and they went, oh shit. It's not at all about what he is saying. And since they couldn't, like, get a blurb, they couldn't get something from the publishers, they literally just had to quote Alan Jones saying, gender diversity and a boy who desires to be a girl.
That can be discussed about gender diversity and a boy who desires to be a girl. 3-year-old.
Gender diversity and a boy who desires to be a girl. They literally just quoted Alan Jones. They literally just quoted him for his evidence. Fucking what? They should get me on this show. I could, like, pay me whatever you're paying Alan Jones, and I'll actually do this right. Come on, guys. Hit me up. Rupert, I know you're watching this right now. Hit me up, and I will help you out.
Mark.
Yeah, Alan, it's frightening.
It's frightening. Julian as a mermaid is frightening.
Parents wrote to me, said that their child and the other children, they're learning how to go to the toilet, how to speak properly, how to do play, how to make friends. They'd love their children to be learning some of the basics of reading, but...
Oh, reading and writing, arithmetic. That's what we need. We need the grammar. We need the... You get your protractor out and you get your T-square, and then you become a valuable member of society, and you go and work in the local hardware store. Except we don't have them anymore because of the global, the neoliberal policies that my party loves to enforce and support, and so we don't have hardware stores, we have Bunnings. We don't have any local industries, we have Bunnings rather, that takes small communities' profits and it funnels them somewhere, I don't know where, probably to the shareholders and out of those communities. So good job, and just don't forget your protractor. It's like PragerU. They say quotes and insist that's what their opponents believe. Yeah, and then they have the graphs with like... and with the increase in feminism, crime is increased. And then they just have two axes, and one says feminism, one says crime. And then the graph is like going up, and they're like, well, I guess that means that feminism and crime are related. You should shop at Stephen's Grocery. Stephen... Worse, they quote each other about what their opponents believe. Yes. It's hilarious. And then they just go back and forward. I mean, it is the easiest grift in the world, right? Like, this is taking more effort than it took to write this bullshit script for them to do this, 5-minute segment. That I'm sure they got, Alan Jones would have got paid. Anyway, a fuck ton for this amount of work.
To take them down the path of gender diversity.
Take them down the path of gender diversity, saying, do you like a colour? Do you like a colour? You know, colours? Are you a kid and like a colour? Guess what? That's okay. Holy shit. Burn that book.
Ages 3 and 4 is completely and utterly age inappropriate.
Age inappropriate. Are you a 4-year-old boy that likes pink? Are you a 4-year-old girl that likes blue? No. You should be told that is wrong. If you go to a school, if you are dropping your 3 and 4-year-olds at a school, you better believe that the teachers had better knock that shit out of them. Excuse me, you're a girl. No, you cannot go and play outside. You sit in here and brush Dolly's hair. No, you will not be playing outside. Oh, no. Tim, no, you cannot come and... No, you can't brush Dolly's hair. Go and play in the mud. Go and roll a smoke. Go and fix my car. He talks about gender diversity like it's terrorism. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing. They don't have scary Muslims anymore. They don't have the Cold War. What do they got now? Trans people that stand up and yell at them at a meeting. That's all they've got. And then very normal children's books that get read to very normal kids. And they have to act like the sky is falling because of that. Speaking of burning books, guess what Virginia is talking about? Is it something good? Yeah, what's wrong with gender diversity? What's going on? Yeah, it's not even gender fluidity now. Like it was gender fluidity before, right? Now it's just... Oh, wait. I literally just looked at the screen. It still says gender fluidity. New South Wales schools highlight gender fluidity. But now he's just saying gender diversity. There is gender diversity. What? Isn't that their whole point? They're like, no, there is gender diversity. Men and women. I like women. Well, they don't actually like women. They're attracted to women, but they don't like them.
It just shouldn't be happening.
No.
And the justification for this is
what's
completely...
the Education Minister doing? What's the Education Minister...
Well, I think the...
What is the Education Minister of an entire state, a state of... I think New South Wales has about 7 million people. What is the Education Minister of a state of 7 million people doing about these books, these very normal children's books that are being read to 3 and 4-year-olds? That's what I want to know. Like, what? It's literally just that Simpsons meme of old man yells at cloud. That is all he's doing. Like, I'm upset about this. Why isn't the Minister for Education for this entire state doing something about this tiny little grievance that I have that's also fucking stupid as hell? Word salad, they're interchangeable. It's a Markov text. Yeah. Yes, true. Like, they can say gender diversity, they can say gender fluid, like, eventually, like, they can say neo-Marxist and cultural Marxist and blah, 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 blah. Like, eventually it will be gender fluidity and cultural Marxism, and they'll be interchangeable. Is it something good? It's Virginia. He's got purple behind him. Oh my God, Alan Jones. I think Alan Jones is trying to subtly signal he's a bit of a unicorn. Maybe that's why he's never spotted with a partner, because he's on the prowl. He's a little bit of a unicorn. Oh, Alan, a little bit spicy.
The main thing is for parents to be taking their kids out of these childcare centres, for the childcare centre itself.
Yep. Are you okay, Alan? Do you need to lie down? What are you doing?
The main thing is for parents to be taking their kids out of these childcare centres, for the childcare centre itself to look at the material from their curriculum development officer who's got this all wrong. There's no justification.
Well, there's an app.
There's no justification for these very nice books. These very lovely books for kids that say, I love you, you're very valued, and you are a individual person, and you have worth, and you have interests, and you can... Oh my God, have you seen Latham's Instagram? Oh, no. Oh no, why? What is it? Already I'm just filled with like a fucking foreboding dread. It's terrible, isn't it?
The parents can check this only about children. Warriewood West mobile app. There it is. There's an app there only about children. Warriewood West. It's available to all parents. I mean, as a 3-year-old, the child's still learning, as you say, Mark, to talk and use the toilet. This is childcare, planting thoughts in the little boy's head, totally inappropriate.
What are you saying, Alan? What are you saying? Alan! What are you even talking about, Alan? What are you saying? Are you okay? Maybe they fired him so he could go and have a lie down. He needed a lie down. Wow.
Mark.
And the federal and the state ministers should take off this centre, the registration. They shouldn't be registered.
They should... The federal and state education ministers should take the registration off this childcare centre because they read Pink is for Boys and Julian is a Mermaid. Are you fucking kidding me? And then these people turn around and say government overreach. Oh, it's tyranny. It's fascism. It's a dictatorship. And then they're like, I think this childcare centre, with all the childcare workers that work there, the person that owns the business, they should go out of business because they read very lovely books to children. They tried to care for children. They should go out of business. But also, I hate big government. I'll send a link. Half of its pitch is the worst food I've ever seen. The other half is hatred and conspiracy theories. So, about where to expect. Nice. He doesn't know how to use apps. No. I guarantee you that Alan Jones does not know how to use apps. Alan Jones was at one point the coach of the Wallabies. Because he's always on a tear about rugby union in Australia. Like, as in the rugby union, like, executive. Rugby union as, you know, the not company, not brand. What would you say? Like, the organising body of Rugby Union Australia. He's always fucking going on about them. And yeah, I found out that he was a coach for the Wallabies. Did he also play for the... What's the Japanese club called? Is it the Barbarians? They've got like a white and black. Anyway, that's a tangent.
To look after 3 and 4-year-olds, this is age inappropriate. And I regard it as completely wrong. And
completely
the children
wrong.
There are sort of becoming pawns in the political ambitions and
God,
and ideals of these adults who run.
I will give him this. yes, Mark, I agree that the children there are now becoming pawns in the political ambitions of adults who have a plan for them. I mean, unfortunately, it's you and Alan Jones. Unfortunately, those kids have now become political pawns because you are politicizing and sexualizing this entire thing that's fabricated out of fucking whole cloth, and nothing exists. There's nothing untowards about those books. They are just very normal, very lovely children's books. But yes, now they are political pawns, and now you are calling for their childcare centre to get shut down. I 100% agree with you, Mark. Wow, we agree on another thing. Good job.
The centre, pushing something that just shouldn't be exposed. Like if people, when they're adults, want to make all these decisions, well, you know, so be it. But 3 and 4-year-olds, there's a sickness in this, Alan.
If you're an adult and you're a man, if you're a real man's man and you want to like Pink, you know, like Jason Momoa, you know, Aquaman, that fucking jacked, huge Hawaiian dude that's just fucking sick as hell, who loves Pink, whose clothing brand is Pink, who's has pink scrunchies. He sells pink shoes. You know, like if you're a grown man, a fucking man's man, and you want to like Pink, go ahead. You know, like whatever. But this is, what do you say? If you're a kid, it's...
When they're adults, want to make all these decisions, well, you know, so be it.
So be it. You know, if you're an adult, so be it, I guess. You know, I can't stop you. I'm not big enough to stop you. I'd like to. If you were Julia Gillard, definitely come up and I'd shake your hand and I'd give you a bit of a squeeze of your hand and I'd try and tower over you. But, yeah, so be it. You know, so be it. But if you're a kid, holy shit, this is the most fucked up shit ever.
But 3 and 4-year-olds, there's a sickness in this, Alan, and the centre should be losing its accreditation to operate and look after 3 and 4-year-olds.
Good on you. Good on you, Mark. Good on you. Holy shit. Good on you for saying good on you. You brave man, Mark Latham. You brave man who was the leader of federal Labor and is now the leader of One Nation for New South Wales and in the Senate for New South Wales, and also paid a lot. And also at one point worked for Sky News and then got fired because you made some homosexual slurs on the air about a bunch of boys from a school. Good on you, you brave soldier of the West. Mark, you are a bloody legend. You are inspired. I'm sorry, you're a bit of an inspiration to me, I know, and to all of our viewers at home. We'd all love to be like you, Mark. We'd all love to have that wonderfully aesthetic background there. That is the pinnacle of the Western man. That is a direct continuation from Charlemagne through to Winston Churchill and also to Ronald Reagan and now to you, Mark Latham. That is a room of kings. You are a legend, good sir, and I salute you.
Good on. I can't even bear to think of where we'd be without you on these issues, Mark Latham. And when's government going to put an end to this nonsense? I've not...
Okay, I think my little speech was a lot better than that. Sorry, Alan. Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I've not heard a syllable uttered by one Minister for Education, but our kids are being destroyed. Mark, we're very grateful for what you do. Thank you for your time.
Kids are being destroyed. What the fuck? Okay, so Mark Latham's Outsiders. All right, I'm going to have to check out that Instagram. That's fucked up. You should go through his posts. I don't want to do it now. Maybe I will. These are clearly two men very secure in their masculinity. Oh, yeah. No, like a children's book that says boys can like pink does not faze them in the slightest because, one, obviously, why would it? And two, they're just manly men. They're just very secure in their masculinity. They're men. Who said they weren't? They're men. Football, blue colours. I wish I got paid 6 figures to rant about gender on TV. Just in the other way. Wouldn't that be great? Imagine like a raft of left-wing media that just didn't have to back anything up. Could just have the most bizarre bullshit conspiracy theories, like, but good ones. Because all I could think of them was like the left-wing kind of quote-unquote left-wing people that then like pivot on YouTube to a right-wing audience and start spouting conspiracy theories. I can even bear to think where we would be without you. I know. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine if Mark Latham wasn't a One Nation senator in New South Wales? Oh, Australia would be, they'd be down the toilet. It would be flushing toilets, that's for sure. He's talking about it like they're going around forcibly injecting young boys with estrogen. Yeah. Pink is for boys. Pink is for boys. That's like their slogan. And they go up and they've got like, the estrogen is like glitter pink in the syringe, and they stick it in there, and then they say pink is for boys, pink is for boys, pink is for boys, and then it turns them, I don't know, gay, trans, whichever's worse for these guys. Gay and trans, probably. And then all the women go and get engineering jobs and medical degrees because they liked brown. Oh, what a time. Just a couple of fucking assholes. Like, truly, they're just assholes as well. Like, their weird bigotry and all of their, like, just politically aggrieved, opportunistic bullshit. They are also just such fucking assholes. Estrogen patches with cartoon characters on them. Kids just stick them on walls and doors anyway. And that's the other thing. Like, who do they think like teachers in schools are? We can't even get all kids to hand, like, this is high school, but I can't even get all the kids to hand in an assessment, like, on the due date, as if I'm going to be able to indoctrinate them, like, against the wishes of their parents. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Fred Flintstone, Ciproterine. Wow, I'm way too dumb to even pronounce that. Ciproterone? Ciproterone? Can I just call it the red pill? Oh, it'd be the pink pill, wouldn't it? The Fred Flintstone pink pill. They're like so the pink pill is the sigma of, wait, would it be this? It wouldn't be the sigma, because that would mean that the little trans kids are always on their grind. Ciproterone. This Fred Flintstone Ciproterone pill. I can't even pronounce pill now. So the Fred Flintstone Ciproterone pill is the pink pill, the beta pill, the soy pill. The kids are getting soy pilled. It's gender fluidity, it's gender diversity, it's neo-Marxism, it's cultural Marxism, it's anti-capitalism, and it's just not on. It's just not Australian. You know, it's just, at the end of the day, it's not Australian. It's not what we stand for. It's not what we stood for 80 years ago. Probably not what we stand for now. But definitely not what we stand for 80 years ago when my views were mainstream. So they're just old, small weirdos. They really are. They really are pathetic excuses for humans that have somehow managed to fail their way upwards, I guess, up the chain, and now they have these positions of power and privilege. And then we'll turn around and say, well, Australia's a meritocracy. I got here based on how good I am. Alan Jones is like, no, there's no one else in Australia. No one else in Australia that could do this job better than me right now, because it's a meritocracy. And Mark Latham is saying, no, I deserve to have the power to push through my agenda in New South Wales, in one of the biggest states of Australia, because of merit. Because of merit. And because of all the bigoted slurs that I've said. Now, it's 1 a.m. down there. It's 12:17 a.m. here. I think I am going to call it for tonight. This has been great fun. But we've got Mark Latham's Instagram to go through at a future date, and also the Anastasia Palaszczuk and Deb Frecklington debate, which I never saw, but we'll definitely have to do that. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. This has been super fun. I have loved it, even if my heart is now beating twice the speed it was when I started this, my chill little stream. But that was good. I'm glad everybody else thinks that those two are just pathetic, useless grifters that are tilting at windmills, as it were. And I'll see everybody next time. Enjoy your evenings. Or if you're in America, enjoy